Welcome while we read about the corrupt bargain. The corrupt bargain happens during the 1824 presidential election, which was a vote held from October 26th to December 2nd, 1824. Pretty important here. The 1824 election marked the final collapse of the Federalist political framework. So after the corrupt bargain, the Federalists are just simply gone. They were very heavily weakened after the War of 1812, but the corrupt bargain is the final nail in the coffin for the Federalists. They're simply gone after this. For a time, no candidate ran as a Federalist, while four significant candidates did compete as Democratic Republicans. Clearly, no party system was functioning in 1824. The official candidate of the Democratic Republicans to replace James Monroe was William H. Crawford, the Secretary of the Treasury. The outcome of this very close election surprised political leaders. The leader in the Electoral College was Andrew Jackson with 99 votes. He was followed by John Quincy Adams, son of John Adams, the second president, who secured 84 votes. Crawford, remember, he's the guy that was supposed to win if James Monroe had anything to say about it. He trailed well behind with just 41 votes. Although Jackson seemed to have won a narrow victory, receiving 43% of the popular vote versus just 30% for John Quincy Adams, he was not declared the winner. So even though Andrew Jackson was the leader, he was not declared the winner. And this is because nobody had received a majority of votes in the Electoral College. The House of Representatives then had to choose between the top two candidates. This is known as a contingent election. When nobody wins the Electoral College and the House of Representatives has to decide, that is a contingent election. Henry Clay finished fourth in the Electoral College and led some of the strongest attacks against Andrew Jackson. Rather than see the presidency won by a man he hated, Andrew Jackson, Henry Clay forged the Ohio Valley New England Coalition, and they voted for John Quincy Adams instead. In return, John Quincy Adams named Clay as his Secretary of State, a position that the previous four presidents also had held. I'll have my guys give you just enough votes to win if you'll make me Secretary of State. Why would I want to be Secretary of State? Because the last four presidents had all been Secretary of State too. Almost seen as like a job that you must have to become president next. This arrangement was denounced immediately as a corrupt bargain by supporters of Andrew Jackson, the Jacksonians. And the next presidential race in 1828 began before John Quincy Adams even took office. To the Jacksonians, the Adams-Clay alliance symbolized a corrupt system where elite insiders pursued their own interests without listening to the will of the people. Meaning, Andrew Jackson had the most votes. Why was he not made president? Because Adams and Clay did some secret dealing from behind the scenes. The Jacksonians, of course, were overstating their case. After all, Jackson had fallen far short of the majority. Nevertheless, when Adams continued to favor strong Federalist ideas, a now dead party, the Jacksonians denounced their political enemies as using government favors to reward their friends and the wealthy. By contrast, Jackson presented himself as a champion of the common man. He's the first president born in a log cabin. He's the first president who's born of nothing. He's not one of those elitists that built the country. He's one of the regular people. Because of this election, the Democratic-Republican Party splintered and also broke apart. So the election of 1824 is the nail in the coffin for the Federalists, and the election of 1828, where Jackson becomes the winner, is the death knell of the Democratic-Republican Party. So because of the corrupt bargain, both the Federalists and the Democratic-Republicans are now dead. And the only party remaining would be the Democrats, a political party created only to get Jackson elected. So I hope you're learning and I hope you're having fun.